welcome back to another exciting episode of AIBiz. I'm your host Avik, and today we are stepping into one of the most talked about and misunderstood conversations of our time, which is AI, artificial intelligence. Yes. And now, the listeners, if you're thinking that Awake, I don't even know where to start with AI, you are not alone then. But here's the twist also. Maybe you shouldn't be starting with AI at all. According to today's guest, that's the wrong question entirely. Yeah. Joining us is the one and only Justine Beauregard. So welcome to through Justin.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, before we delve into the discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce you with Justin. So, Justin is a lifelong entrepreneur, award winning sales strategist, and someone who knows how to turn cold calls into cash and guesswork into growth. So, with over $10 million in added sales for her clients and a backstory that begins with $5 puppet shows in her backyard, she brings energy, wisdom, and no BS approach to a business and the tech. And today she's here to call out the biggest mistake entrepreneurs are making with AI and also show us how to use it, not to start faster, but to refine smarter. That's a great approach, right? So whether you are AI curious or knee deep into tools, then this one is for you. So why to wait? Let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love that term, AI curious. That's very fun.
Yeah, thank you, so much. Yeah. So Justin, you have been super vocal lately about how people are using AI the wrong way. I mean, that this approach, I really love it, I would say. So, what do you mean by that? I mean, where do you see the biggest disconnect happening?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. There's actually a book that is called Words That Sell, and or More Than Words. And it's how to think about the writing that you do in an age of AI. And one of the things that this author, John Warner, says in the book is AI is not a human.
Hmm.
And we're treating it as if it's artificial intelligence, as in it can behave like a human, when it's really more automation and process and it's machine learned. So, one of the beautiful illustrations he gives in this book is when I think about cinnamon rolls,
Hmm.
I type that into AI, and AI is going to push some content that says cinnamon rolls, America's favorite treat. They're very bad on the hips, and they're going to cause cholesterol problems, but they're also ooey gooey and delicious, and people really enjoy cinnamon rolls. And here's how you make cinnamon rolls. Would you like a recipe? And it's very fact based and very, machine learned. It's all the information compiled off the web about cinnamon rolls, which is very vanilla, so to speak. And he says, when I, as a human with experiences and the richness of life to support me in writing content, I think of cinnamon rolls and I remember walking through O'Hare International Airport. And even when I wasn't hungry, I would divert myself and get to the airport earlier than I needed to, just so I could go to the Cinnabon that was right outside of this gate that I used to fly out of all the time for work. And when I think about cinnamon buns, even though that Cinnabon location has been gone for years, I remember the smell and how good that it was feeling in that season of my life to travel and what it meant and signified and comfort that I got from that experience. And it's a very visual example. And so I think that was the most perfect illustration of when you ask AI, write about, for me, I'm in sales. If I say write about sales, it's going to pull very generic, vague, vanilla examples that anybody else could talk about. The fact that Sales is not about convincing people, and sales has to be done in this certain way. But when I write about sales, I speak about it from the perspective of 20 years in sales. I talk about my clients and struggles they've had and stories they've shared and experiences that have shaped me as a salesperson. I talk about the fact that when I was first learning to sell, I actually got on a conversation with this gentleman, and it went so well that not only did he buy, but he also asked me on a date and I went on it. So that when I think about sales, I think it's relationships, literally. And that's a story of my experience that AI would never be able to come up with. So that's kind of what I mean in illustration.
That's a really lovely and detailed explanation, I would say. That's really, really great. And from there, like, do you think that people are treating AI more like a magic wand? Like,
Yes.
I mean, because it should be the strategic tool, right? I mean, as per my understanding, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody loves a shortcut. Right? We love a
Yeah.
cheat code. We love the fastest path to where we're going. If we can get there quicker, we live in a society where our culture has shaped us no matter where you live in the world. I know that you're in India, I'm in the United States, and still both of us could probably say with confidence, we've been taught to crave instant gratification, to want things sooner than later. That's the human experience. And so I think what AI has given us is this idea that, oh, the content that took me forever to write, AI can now help me write. And so they start by writing with AI. And that actually has the opposite effect because AI is a machine learning tool, which means we have to give it inputs for us to get the outputs we want. We can't ask something to write on our behalf without giving it some sort of input. So I say, don't start by saying, write me a post for Instagram about sales. I start by giving it a prompt like, here is the transcript or here is the caption of a piece of content that I created recently. Tell me what you notice about my style as a salesperson, what makes me stand out, and then give me a list of questions my clients or ideal clients might have after consuming this piece of content to make it land even stronger and be even more valuable for them. And that shift takes your content from vanilla and boring and surface level and what sounds like everyone else, and it teaches you so that you become the human learner while it's becoming the machine learner, and you're partnering together for better outcomes. And I think it also builds the skill of knowing the right questions to ask to get you better results with whatever it is you're doing outside of AI. So when you learn how to ask AI better questions, you get better at asking questions of your partner and your friends and your clients, and you become a stronger person for how you're using it because you're training yourself to build more skills rather than relying on AI to carry you to the finish line. And it can only take you so far.
Mm. Amazing, amazing. That's a great part of it, yeah. I mean, this is so real. Like, it's like people are outsourcing their instincts to AI.
Yes.
Like, kind of why their copy sounds very robotic and their strategy falls flat. So yeah, true, very true.
Yes, it is so true. And I think that's a great way to put it, outsourcing your instincts, which again, as a machine, it doesn't have instincts. It doesn't have a personality of its own. It is a
Exactly.
tool. And so the last thing you want to outsource is your intuition. You can't outsource that. Like we're relying on certain tools to do things for us, and there's something unique about AI because there's so many different tools that have launched between, the internet first coming to scene and now with AI. I think AI is our first genuine experience with a tool that feels personified. All the other tools feel like, okay, I have a scheduler for social media. I'm not relying on that scheduler to tell me anything. I'm relying it to do its job, to replace the job of a person who would have to do this manually. It's like taking it's automation at its finest. You take a task that was manual and you make it automated so you don't have to think about it. And that is a beautiful thing. But with AI, because we have a different experience of it, and it really does talk to us. And there are so many movies. I went to the Sphere in Las Vegas recently, and in the Sphere, they have several robots that look like people, that walk and talk like people. They have the mannerisms, they have the nuance of a hand gesture, and they're walking around on two legs with two arms and blinking eyes and a mouth that matches what it's saying. And they'll greet you in every language. You will ask it a question and it will have a response. You will say, who is this person? Like, who is Marco Polo? And they will tell you in what language would you like the answer to that question? Who is Albert Einstein? Let me give you a backstory and three things about Albert Einstein that you might not know. And it's fascinating because it's actually the depiction of AI that I think a lot of us picture in our minds. Like it is a actual physical being, as in a robot walking around amongst us, but we're selling ourselves short on the fact that there's no replacement for the human experience. And while that robot may sound and look and walk and talk as if it were a human, at its core, we can power it down whenever we want, and it will never move through life the way that a human moves through life, and it will never have the depth of human experience that we have. And I think in this age of AI, as we're selling and creating content and trying to carve out a place for ourselves in business, especially, if we rely too heavily on AI, we're going to start to lose our essence and what I call our distinctive edge, the thing that makes us so different and so unique that people go, wow, I need you. I could go to anybody, but I choose you. And the more people rely so deeply on AI, the more they're going to fall behind on that side of things. And they're going to start to look and sound and feel like everyone else. And we're going to see a massive shift, I believe, where people's businesses that are classically very unique and disruptive are going to start to feel more like a commodities business. And they're going to start to compete on volume and price, and those of us who don't subscribe to that are going to be playing the value game, and we're going to beat all of them without even trying.
Exactly. Hmm. Wow. And also, if you can give a quick example, of a sales message that flopped when it relied too much on AI.
Oh my gosh. Just give me Instagram and I'll show you 900 right now. There are so many. It's actually one of my favorite ones. So I have my own podcast called Why You Hate Sales. And the purpose of this podcast is to reframe selling for people, because a lot of people, when I introduce myself as a sales coach, people immediately go, "Sales? I hate sales." That it's like a visceral reaction. They're almost trained to believe and say, and I'm just like, "No, you just don't understand that sales is a skill. You are looking at it as something to dread and fear because you were never taught how to sell, and you don't view it as a skill. You view it as something that you have to, I don't know, muster up the courage to do or something, which any skill can be taught and learned and mastered in a very simple way if you take the right approach." And so I plugged into AI when I first got it, and I've seen a lot of people with these styles of posts that basically say, you know, you're not bad at sales. You're just learning how to sell. And in theory, this is a very solid piece of advice. You're not bad at sales. You're just learning, right? Sounds very innocent. We're speaking kind to ourselves, all of that. What I actually say is if you think you're bad at sales, you probably are. And it doesn't have to be a problem. And in fact, the more you accept and are willing to admit your shortcomings when it comes to sales, the faster you're going to improve. So if you tell yourself, I'm just learning, it takes time, it's hard, everybody goes through this, you will have that experience every single time. But if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm bad at sales, I don't know how to do it in a way that feels good. I haven't built a system for myself to follow. Nothing about this is enjoyable for me. I have terrible scripting. I'm horrible at the follow up. People are not responsive when I pitch. I don't feel right about my pricing. All of these are basic statements that can be transformed into curiosities that help you improve. So if you say, I'm bad at sales and I don't feel confident about my pricing, just flip that into a question. What don't I feel good about when it comes to my pricing? Well, it's hard for me to sell it, or I'm getting a lot of pricing objections. Okay. Are you taking them at face value? Do you believe them? Why do you
Uh,
believe them? Do you need a lower price or a higher price, maybe? What is it? And so now you start to take the thing that was keeping you stuck, which AI is keeping you stuck because it's placating you and telling you you're not bad at sales, you're just figuring it out. Versus me as a coach, I'm going to go to my client and say, if you think you're bad at sales, then you are. Let's fix it. And then we take
uh,
steps that day for them to move past it. And instead of waiting months to make a sale, they make a sale in a day because they tell themselves, I'm bad at it for these reasons. And then I have
yeah,
clarity on what I need to fix. And then I fix it and it works.
correct. Very true. Yeah.
And there's countless examples like that where AI will give you what it
Mm,
thinks you want to hear because that's what we have classically programmed it to give us. And that's
true.
what a lot of blogs and resources that it's trolling and going through on the internet are saying. But a real human with the perspective of nearly 20 years teaching sales, like I have, looks at
Mm,
things very differently. I don't think like a bot. I think like a person who's been through it quite a few times. I've built businesses and burnt them down. I've helped hundreds of clients navigate these types of challenges. AI will never be able to match my level of expertise, and it never should because that's not what it's meant to do. That's not what it's for. It's to augment our skills and help us refine and think about things and actually teach us how to be better at solving our own problems than relying on it to solve our problems on our behalf.
exactly. What a lovely explanation. Yeah. And the distinction between done for you and done with you AI is definitely a game changer because when the soul's not there, even the smartest tech can't sell for you. So definitely that's true. And so and also like you have said that AI is not where we start, it's where we refine, right? So how does someone know like what to bring to AI to get that best results?
Okay, so this is really meta,
Uh-huh.
but you can actually ask AI. Like this is the type of skill that I'm talking about when we use it as its tool was meant to be used. You can say to AI, "Hi AI, I am trying to get better at leveraging you as a tool. I don't want
Mm.
you to create content for me. I want you to help me refine what I'm creating. Where can I start with that?"
Yeah.
And then AI can give you ideas if you're stuck. And obviously, working with somebody else or asking for the feedback or wisdom of somebody who's already done that is a much better approach than AI. But you want to at least start somewhere. That's a great place to ask it how you're going to get to where you want to go. And like I said, it's very meta and it probably won't be the ideal thing, but it will at least give you a starting point. And then I would say, if this is something of interest to you, start to consume more content and participate in conversations with people who are building these skills and learning as well, so that you're surrounded by a desire and a hunger to improve on these skills because The only way you're going to get better at something is to practice it. And if you don't have a group or some sort of go-to resource like this incredible podcast that teaches lots of different people's perspectives on AI, like you're here listening to this episode, go back and listen to 3 more. Subscribe and make sure you're getting the 3 that follow and everyone after them. Like, and promote this episode. Share it with your network so that other people find it, because that's how we grow together. That's how we become stronger in business. We help other people. We elevate the experience. We seek out those who know a little bit better than us. And even this conversation today, I was a little bit hesitant on whether I wanted to be a guest on this show or not, because I don't see myself as an AI specialist. I haven't used AI to the extent that I know a lot of people have. I use AI to support my greatest good, and I've learned some things about myself and the way that I approach it. But if someone asked me, Justine, are you an AI expert? I would say, Absolutely not. I'm nowhere near where I need to be." But already in this conversation, you've heard some of my thought patterns and ways that I'm using it and techniques, and it's helping shape how you think about it. And then you're going to pay it forward. And then your listeners are going to hear that. And that's the power of what's being built in community that you just can't get working in a silo by yourself all the time.
Perfect. Perfect. Lovely. And wow. And I mean, what would you say to someone who's still intimidated by all the AI tools out there?
Yeah. I mean, I am, as a salesperson, very inherently curious. So I wouldn't probably say anything to them. I would probably get curious and ask them questions about what feels intimidating about it. Is it that they don't have a way of using it yet? Is that they're not sure which tool is the best fit for them? Is it that they're concerned about the environmental impact or, the ethics behind AI? There's so many things and reasons that intimidate people about different things. And so we never want to solve for what we perceive to be a problem. It's like if you go to the doctor, I give this example a lot about how I teach sales as more of a prescriptive method. So imagine I'm a doctor and you come into my practice and you have heart or chest pain. I'm not going to break out the VFib paddles and treat you like a heart attack patient or somebody who's, going into cardiac arrest. I'm going to ask you questions and say, "Oh, you know what? That sounds like heartburn. That sounds like a panic attack. That sounds like an arrhythmia." There's so many reasons why your heart could feel or your chest could feel heavy or something could be happening that's causing a panic. And so we don't want to just treat every symptom or the symptom that we think is happening. We want to get to the root cause of it. And so I would ask that person, what's intimidating you? And I think it's a great practice to ask yourself. Like, if you're feeling intimidated right now in this moment by AI and everything that's available to you, ask yourself, like, what am I actually intimidated by? And get curious and go down that web of curiosity until you get to the root of it, and then you can solve for that problem. But until you have clarity on what's actually going on, you can't solve for anything, and neither can I.
Exactly. Wow. Amazing, I have to say. And Justin, I mean, this was one of those episodes I wished like every entrepreneur could tattoo on their whiteboard. So it's not about like using AI faster, but it's all about thinking deeper first, which is very important. And also, I'd say what you have reminded us that clarity is the real shortcut, and technology is only as powerful as the human behind it. And your blend of business brilliance and soulful strategy is exactly like what this conversation needed. So, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I love that you said clarity is the greatest shortcut. I'm totally going to borrow that.
Yeah, definitely, all yours. So, uh, to everyone who is listening, I mean, if you have been drowning in the tools, prompts, or kind of tech hype, so then please ask yourself that what am I trying to say? I mean, who am I trying to reach? And get clear there. And then, only then, open the laptop. It will help you for sure. I know this conversation has lit something inside you. Do not forget to share, leave us a review, tag someone who needs to hear this, because this way only we can spread the awareness, right? So you can connect with Justine and find more about her magic. So, Justine, what would be the great medium to connect?
Yeah, so I have a podcast called Why You Hate Sales. You can go to whyouhatesales.com. And then you can also visit my profiles on social media or my website, which is just sellwithjustine.com.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, I'll put that link into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, this is your host, Avik, signing off from AIBiz. Until next time, lead with thought and then let the take catch up. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.